Bavuma hits back with 100 after Derbyshire dominate morning. Derbyshire welcome Northants to Queen's Park in Chesterfield after a hard-fought win against Worcestershire last time out took them up to third place in Division 2, while visitors Northamptonshire had to be content with a draw against Lancashire. The Northamptonshire openers made a rapid start as 20 runs came up from the first 4 overs, with Newton and Vasconcelos finding the rope regularly. But Derbyshire were able to rein in the run rate somewhat, and Rampel had Newton caught by deploy. Vasconcelos hit back a boundary off Hudson Prentice and then 2 from consecutive Rampel deliveries in the following over. But Hudson Prentice got his own back when he removed Proctor. And Northants were suddenly in trouble when Rees pinned Vasconcelos in front for 30. But the run rate dried up as the session wore on, as just 2 runs came up from the next 8 overs before Bavuma broke the shackles with a 4 in the over before lunch as Northants reached the interval on 66 for 3. Bavuma and Keogh went back on the attack as the afternoon session began, with Bavuma sending Kadri to the rope from consecutive deliveries. And Bavuma then picked up 3 more 4s from a Rampel over as the partnership began to motor along. Bavuma moved past 50 before Rees had Keogh caught by deploy. But Bavuma counter-attacked further in partnership with new batsman Rossington, finding the boundary at will as 40 runs came up in the 6 overs after Keogh's dismissal. The South African clattered Critchley for a maximum in consecutive overs, while Rossington scored at better than a runner ball. But Critchley hit back when he removed Rossington caught and bowled for 38. Bavuma remained to reach his second successive century for his county soon after, as the runs continued to arrive quickly. Josh Cobb came to the crease and picked up where Rossington had left off, announcing himself by smashing both Critchley and Kadri for 6 before the tea break arrived, with Northants having recovered well in that session, scoring nearly 200 runs in the session. But Cobb had to go in the first over of the evening session when Critchley hit back to have him caught by Hudson Prentice. But the wicket failed to stem the flow of runs as Specsavers and Bavuma continued to find the fence with ease and push their side beyond 300 with a series of boundaries. Critchley hit back again though to pin Bavuma LBW, and the South African had to go for 134. Kadri bowled Specsavers soon after for 31. But once again the wicket brought little respite for the Derbyshire bowlers as the new batsman Coles hammered 20 off his first 6 balls. Another maximum for Coles soon after saw him move to 26 off just 8 balls, but Critchley accounted for him with the next ball, and the mayhem was brought to an end in the following over when Kadri had Hutton caught by Madsen to wrap up the Northants innings for 342, an excellent comeback after they were in trouble in the morning session. Hutton was able to make the breakthrough in just the second over of the Derbyshire reply when he bowled Rees. But Madsen held firm with a couple of boundaries late in the day to see his side to the close without further loss on 34 for 1. They'll resume on day 2 with plenty of batting to do. Northants pushing for victory after breathless second day at Chesterfield. Temba Bavuma hit his second century in as many matches for Northamptonshire as they had the best of day 1 at Chesterfield, recovering to 342 all out after Derbyshire had reduced them to 45 for 3 in the morning session. The hosts will resume on day 2 on 34 for 1, having lost Lewis Rees late on day 1. And Northants were to strike again early in the morning session when Ben Hutton trapped Wayne Madsen in front. Godderman held firm to send Hutton to the rope in response, but Lace fell for an 11-ball duck when he was pinned LBW by Sanderson. Derbyshire were able to move past 50 before Sanderson removed deploy in the same fashion. And the hosts were really in the mire when Sanderson struck again in his next over when the obdurate Godderman edged behind to Rossington. Sanderson then made it 4 in his following over of an inspired spell of pace bowling, as Hosin also edged behind the keeper. Critchley crunched Keogh for a 6, before Finn Hudson-Prentice went absolutely berserk to smash Keogh for 22 in an over. Coles accounted for Critchley LBW with his 3rd ball of the innings. But Palladino took a leaf out of Hudson-Prentice's book and started swinging, before he fell to Keogh for 16 to bring about the lunch interval. Kadri didn't last long before he became Sanderson's 5th victim as the quick returned for a new spell. But Hudson-Prentice continued to find the boundary as he helped himself to 2 more in a Sanderson over to move to 48. And the youngster reached a superb defiant half-century before last man Rampel fell for a 15-ball duck to leave Derbyshire 146 all out and give Northants a lead of 196 on first innings. Northants went on the attack as their second innings began as Vasconcelos and Newton punished anything loose. But they fell in consecutive balls when Hudson-Prentice pinned Newton LBW with the last ball of his over and then ran out Vasconcelos from the first ball of the next, bowled by Rampel. Proctor didn't last long before he too fell LBW to Hudson-Prentice. And Derbyshire struck from consecutive deliveries again soon after to put the cat among the pigeons. First Palladino pinned Keogh in front and then Rossington edged the next ball behind to Hosin. Bavuma led the counter-attack as he had in the first innings, picking up boundaries off consecutive Palladino balls and then sharing 15 runs with Cobb from the next over, bowled by Hudson-Prentice. 2 more 4s came up for Cobb off Critchley before the spinner got his own back in his next over when he had him caught by Rees. And Palladino accounted for Bavuma for 31, just 2 balls later caught by Lace. Before Kadri bowled Coles to leave Northants 91 for 8, and after Northants had scrambled past 100, Hutton fell LBW to Palladino, who had his 4th wicket. Sanderson and Zabe had a swing, but the ball after depositing Kadri for a maximum, Zabe was gone to leave Northants 122 all out in just 30 overs. Derbyshire would begin their chase of 319 to win just after tea on the second day as the game continued to move at a ferocious pace. And that pace showed no sign of slowing down when the Derbyshire openers came out. Godderman smashed 15 off Hutton's first over, before following it up with a 6 and a 4 off the next, bowled by Sanderson. Rees got in on the act as the score rattled along at an incredible 10 and over, but the fun had to end and Rossington decided enough was enough, showing superb keeping skills, standing up to his fast bowler Sanderson and stumping Godderman when he advanced down the wicket. It didn't do too much to deter the Derbyshire batsmen though, as Rees and Madsen continued to pepper the boundary and moving to 65 in just the 7th over of the chase. The rates had begun to calm down slightly when Madsen was bowled by Coles for 27, and Keogh accounted for Rees soon after as Northants began to take a grip of the contest once again. Lace and Deploy picked up where their predecessors left off, however, as they accelerated past 100 and the boundaries continued to come thick and fast. With stumps fast approaching, Deploy fell for a runner ball 18 when he was caught by Hutton off Proctor, before Proctor bowled Kadri for a golden duck with his next delivery as the ferocious pace of the game continued. The close came with Derbyshire 155 for 5 at the end of a breathless day in which a remarkable 24 wickets fell and almost 400 runs were scored. Derbyshire will resume on day 3, needing a further 164 to win, while Northants will require 5 wickets. Northants wrap up frenetic win on day 3 as Derbyshire go down swinging. Northants will push for victory on day 3 after a madcap day of cricket in Chesterfield on day 2 saw 24 wickets fall and almost 400 runs scored. Derbyshire fell to 146 all out in reply to Northants' 342 on day 1, before bowling out the visitors for just 122 in 30 overs in response, and then going on the attack in an attempt to chase an unlikely 319 for victory, and ending the day 155 for 5. The Derbyshire batsmen continued to swing as day 3 began, but Lace was soon gone when he tried to put away a leg stump half volley from Hutton, but only succeeded in picking out Bavuma at mid-wicket. And when Proctor pinned Hosin in front with one that kept low soon after, the writing was on the wall for Derbyshire. Critchley continued the attack to take the hosts past 200 with a boundary off Proctor and 2 in consecutive balls off Coles. But after a Hudson Prentice 4, Coles got his revenge as he clean bowled Critchley, with Rossington taking the catch off the stumps for good measure. And soon after, Proctor had another when Palladino nicked him behind. Last man Rampel had a real slog to take the target into double figures, smashing Coles for a 6 and a 4 off consecutive deliveries. But the fun had to end and Rampel picked out Bavuma off Sanderson to wrap up a frenetic contest and give Northants the win by 72 runs. They'll take 22 points from the contest, while Derbyshire advance with just 3.